So before discussing the specific research methods in psychology, it's useful to see the general classifications of research as a whole. Research methods can be divided or categorized based on different phenomena or based on different situations. It can be divided based on its nature, it can be divided based on its purpose, it can be categorized based on the data collection method, or even the type of data we are going to use, or even it can be categorized based on its design. So when we see generally the research, when a classification or division based on its nature, research can be divided into descriptive research method and analytical research method based on the nature of the research to be conducted. When we say descriptive research method, it involves simply the description of phenomenon or the description of a situation as it is. That means it doesn't involve manipulation of data, manipulation of variables under investigation. Simply, we see what is the fact about the variable under investigation. For example, what is the attitude of Redwa community toward this COVID vaccination? Do people want to be vaccinated? What is their general attitude? That is, you simply describe what the attitude of the community looks like toward the coronavirus vaccination. The other classification based on nature of the research is analytical research method. This is using the data found, using the data collected from description or from whatever, it's to come up with analyzing the information to solve the problem. For example, how many people have taken vaccination? That's simple description. How many have not? What does the rate of the epidemic virus look like in the vaccinated section and non-vaccinated community? So that's analyzing the information and facts. That's what we call analytical research method. The other, based on the purpose of the research, research methodology can be categorized or divided into two. That is basic research and applied research. Basic research is used to add knowledge to the already existing body of knowledge. For example, previously we knew that there were 9 planets in the universe, but later on, after a few years, no, there were more planets, 13 planets in the universe. And again, after a few years, no, there were 16, 17, 18. So the existence of the number of planets in the universe was already discovered, but through basic and fundamental investigation, we now found out that there were more planets in the universe. So we added this new information or new knowledge to the already existing. We improved, we increased the body of knowledge. So that's what we call basic or fundamental or pure research. So we can generalize the finding, we can forecast the finding to the population, other larger population, wider population. We can apply the finding to humanity as a whole in basic research. But when we call applied research, the purpose of applied research is to solve the specific problem. We come up with certain problem and we investigate the problem, and also we come up with possible solutions, possible practical solutions to solve the problem. For example, actual research. What is the problem of the female mathematics low grades in Redwa University? What can we do to solve this problem? This is what we call applied research, or can be actual research. So it is a research that involves investigation of the problem and application of different techniques, procedures, principles to solve the problem. The other is based on data collection. We can also categorize research methods into two. That is quantitative and qualitative research method, or quantitative research or qualitative research. So that is based on data collection analysis method. When we say quantitative, it is the collection, analysis, and summarization of data using numerical information or using numbers. It describes, it infers, and solves problem using numerical data or using numbers. So any type of research that involves numerical data is called quantitative research. So in that research, we use tables, graphs, charts, and we use closed-ended questions that can be numbered. Whereas qualitative research, we know that not all phenomena, not all affairs, not all things, not all behaviors can be quantified. There are unquantifiable phenomena. There are unquantifiable things in our world that really needs qualitative investigation, qualitative approach. So qualitative research method involves using words and appropriate diction to explain behavior, to explain the emotion, the attitudes of people in order to come up with certain findings. So we use this for unquantifiable phenomena in research, and we sometimes basically use open-ended questions in order to collect the data. For example, what do you feel about the current political situations in our country? So the individual under display or the subject will explain how he or she feels, what the attitude he or she has towards what's going on in the country or wherever in the situation they are. Then we need to really put the emotion, the attitude, the idea of that subject in a well-selected diction or vocabulary or words to come up with the finding of the investigation. Based on the data, again, the type of data, research can be divided into two. That is primary research and secondary research. When we say primary research, it is when we collect data directly from the subject. Maybe using surveys, it can be using interview, or it can be using observation. So when we have direct contact with the subject under investigation, that's what we call primary data. Whereas secondary research is when we use the information or the data from the second source. For example, the research that was previously done from literature, from archives. That's what we call secondary data, and the research that's conducted using the type of secondary data is called secondary research. The fifth category basis is research design. Based on the research design, we can also categorize our research methods or our types of research into two. That is exploratory research and conclusive research. When we say exploratory research, it is the research type that is used to investigate the research area. Most of the time, this is used at the beginning or at the initial stage of our research, which means there will be no final conclusion of the research questions, but we only come up with the general environment, the general area of the research under investigation. Maybe the end point can be the improved topic. Maybe the end point will be the improved objectives and research questions of the research. Whereas conclusive research is when we come up with the final and conclusive answers to our research questions. This might include hypothesis testing. In exploratory research method, we might not need hypothesis testing, but we only come up with a general survey of the research area or the research questions or the research objectives. Whereas under conclusive research type, we really need to come up with the final words, with the final conclusion to the answers to the research question objective, maybe by using hypothesis testing and different analysis. So these are the basic research methods as a general, based on different types, like based on different phenomena or basis, like nature of the research, purpose of the research, data collection methodology, or type of data or research design. We say that based on the nature of the research, we can divide or categorize the research method into two, that is descriptive and applied research, or analytical research. Whereas based on the purpose, the function of the research, we divide or categorize research method into two, that is basic research and applied research. Whereas based on the data collection and analysis method, we categorize the research method into two, that's quantitative and qualitative research. Sometimes we have the third option here, that is the mixed research method. That is when we use both qualitative and quantitative research methods together. And based on the type of data, you can divide the research to primary research and secondary research. And regarding the design, we can have exploratory research method and conclusive research method. Thank you so much. Next, we are going to see the research methods in psychology specifically. Have a good time.